Who knows what you have spoken to the darkness, alone, in the bitter watches of the night, when all your life seems to shrink, the walls of your bower closing in about you, a hutch to trammel some wild thing in. Gríma Wormtongue's story is one of treachery, manipulation, and ultimately tragedy. A native of Rohan, Grima began his life as an ordinary man, but became a central figure in Saruman's plot to destabilize the kingdom of Rohan and pave the way for his conquest of Middle-earth. Grima earned the nickname Wormtongue due to his deceitful and poisonous manner of speaking. Initially a trusted advisor to King Théoden of Rohan, he slowly gained influence over the aging ruler through manipulation and treachery. Grima's loyalty, however, did not lie with Théoden, but with Saruman, the once great wizard who had turned to darkness in pursuit of power. Saruman sought to control Rohan as part of his broader alliance with Sauron, and Grima became his tool to achieve this goal. Under Saruman's influence, Grima used his position to weaken Théoden and Rohan from within. He whispered lies and half-truths into the king's ear, isolating Théoden from his loyal allies, including his nephew Éomer and his niece Éowyn. Through his counsel, Théoden fell into a state of despair and apathy, rendered nearly powerless to govern his people or resist Saruman's growing threat. Grima's manipulation also included spreading misinformation, discrediting those who sought to warn Théoden of Saruman's plans, and fostering divisions within the court of the Rohirrim. Grima's motivations were not solely loyalty to Saruman, they were also fueled by greed and lust. Saruman promised Grima great rewards for his service, including wealth and power, but Grima's ambitions extended further. He desired Éowyn, Théoden's niece, and hoped that by consolidating his control over the king, he could force her into submission. However, Éowyn saw through Grima's deceit and regarded him with contempt, a sentiment shared by many of Rohan's warriors and nobles. Despite his cunning, Grima's control over Théoden was not absolute. The arrival of Gandalf the White marked the beginning of Grima's downfall. Gandalf exposed Grima's treachery and broke Saruman's spell over Théoden, restoring the king's vitality and resolve. Grima was cast out and fled to Saruman's stronghold at Orthanc, where he became little more than a lackey to the fallen wizard. Grima's time at Orthanc was marked by increasing despair and bitterness. As Saruman's plans unraveled, Grima found himself trapped in a hopeless situation. When Orthanc was overthrown by the Ents, Grima and Saruman were left powerless, effectively imprisoned in the tower. However, they were eventually released and wandered to the Shire, where Saruman sought to exert one final grasp for power. In the Shire, Grima's relationship with Saruman deteriorated further. Saruman continued to belittle and mistreat him, viewing him as little more than a tool. Grima's resentment and frustration grew, and his role in Saruman's schemes became increasingly erratic. The breaking point came during the scouring of the Shire, when Saruman's tyranny over the hobbits was overthrown by Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin. After Saruman was defeated, Grima's pent-up hatred erupted in violence. In a final act of defiance, Grima killed Saruman, slitting his throat in front of Frodo and the other hobbits. This act of rebellion was short-lived, as Grima was immediately shot and killed by hobbit archers, ending his tragic and treacherous life. Gríma Wormtongue's story is a cautionary tale of corruption and the seductive nature of power. While he was undoubtedly a villain, there are elements of tragedy in his character. Grima was not inherently evil, but was drawn into darkness by his ambitions, fears, and susceptibility to manipulation. His actions caused immense suffering, yet his life ended in misery and isolation, betrayed by the very master he served. In Tolkien's broader mythology, Grima represents the dangers of deceit and the corrupting influence of power. That concludes our dive into the tale of Gríma Wormtongue. Until next time, be careful with whom you confide in. The vault is now closed.